me from showing up on the screen. This is a little,
Yeah, she'll
it's a
minimize
little
it.
weird, little strange.
There you go.
No, you'll see the screen. So basically, we're going to go through those pages that we told you. And what we've done is we've prioritized the ones that have specific questions for you,
Okay.
that aren't things that don't. We have lots of pages that don't have changes or that only have like grammatical things or need small blurbs. So we're looking at more bigger picture things. And this is based on some of the feedback you gave us a while back with your Post-its and some of
Yep.
the stuff from leadership. So
Can I
Yep.
can I jump in and just say one thing? Is it okay if I turn my camera off and move this to my
Yes.
bigger screen so
Oh,
I
yeah,
can
oh,
see it
yeah,
better?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I'm not ignoring anything. I just don't want to look,
No,
sideways, and it's easier to not
no,
see all
you're
this in the
good.
corner of my. Okay. Thank you.
we pulled up the 15 different Word documents that we have questions for. And we're going to
Okay.
record your answers, and then Tanya's going to go through each of the yes, no, do we need to talk further, whatever, and we'll try to get through this today. If we also have time set us 30 minutes at a time on Friday if we need it.
Okay.
But okay.
All right. So first one up that she's got up, this is our special ed services landing page, not the exceptional children landing page. This is special ed services. And I know you looked at it because you put a couple comments on it. Excuse me. And we agreed with it. We did have a question actually about the public schools at the top. You said, what about KSB and KSD?
Mhm.
We actually had concerns about putting public schools in general because we have information about private schools on our page
Oh,
too.
okay. Okay.
So we were wondering if we should actually change it to do special ed programs in schools.
That makes sense. Well, here's the other thing though. Some private schools aren't schools. Some private schools could be, um, home-based types of things,
Okay,
or,
true.
so, um, what if you just said includes information on all aspects of special education programming?
Okay, we can do that. Yep. And then,
Wait, we're talking about we're not talking about the title, are we?
no, not yet.
Okay, good, because we
No,
can't do.
you're
Yeah.
good. So we're good there. And then, okay, then I wanted to get that out of the way. Then when we were talking about what's on the page, when we were talking with leadership, we felt like we needed to have that landing page of special ed services encompasses so much
Mhm.
because we have IDEA, we have KERs, and we have 504, even though we don't oversee it.
Mhm.
We have that piece. And Amanda and I actually were talking about that today, about how we have gotten so many more questions about it. The TA that we are providing to people that call in about 504 or email, this is the information we're providing them that's down here. This is what has been approved by like David
Mhm.
that we've been giving them. So that's why we thought, well, if we can put it on the landing page as part of the special ed, maybe this would help keep so much TA coming in from that, because all the information will be in one place. But we did keep your note in there because we think that does have to go through legal, because we're not sure what all, we can or can't. We don't know a lot about 504 in regards to how
Mhm.
much we can
Right.
share or not share.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't know if there was any more about that you wanted to look into besides just checking with legal.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like, while I think most of it was correct, I don't know how much of it we need. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
So, I think sometimes less is more because people will stop reading. Um, to be honest with you, I would not include 504 under IDEA, and here's why. And I understand, that if, it's basically if you have, let me see if I can get this right. If you have an IEP, you're automatically protected under 504. But if you have a 504 plan, you're not automatically protected under IDEA.
Correct. Yes.
So if you put 504 in here, it looks like it's part of special education,
Okay.
and
So
it may
then,
not be.
so that was part of that was part of the argument when we were having leadership come in to look at the pages we'd drawn out. Originally, we had 504 as its own page.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that section just as a page, and all it said was section 504 plans, and all this information was right there.
Mm-hmm.
We had several people said, yes, let's just make it its own page. We can direct people there. That way we don't have to keep sending out all this information. We can just
Yeah,
send them
I
one link.
understand that. I don't
whereas-
see it on this page. Am I supposed to be looking at it?
Scroll down, Becca.
Okay.
So
Okay,
there it is.
okay.
It's that section.
Okay.
So that's the information that we've been sending out to people when they request
Mhm.
information, you know. So
Mhm.
that we originally had on its own page,
Mhm.
under the exceptional children learning, and we had all the, I think it was under, I'm trying to look and see what pages, but it was under one of the guidance and resources pages.
Yeah.
But we had some people that said, yes, keep it as its own page. Others said no. So that's where we were coming to you is, do we
I
keep
don't-
it under special ed? Do we keep it a page? Do we not?
I don't like it under the header of special ed.
Okay. Do you think it needs to be a page of its own under guidance?
I think it could be.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because you run into, bless you, you run the risk of if we give the illusion of it being special education, then we run the risk of essentially approving, for lack of a better word, directors of special education being involved in the 504, or being the 504 coordinator. And while that's
Yeah.
not, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There is something wrong with it if they use IDEA funds to do 504 work.
Okay.
And 504, you can have a 504 plan and you're not a special ed kid.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then what we'll do is I'll take it back to the team and we'll talk about other locations for it that might fit where it doesn't kind of pull to that special ed piece.
Yeah, I think
right,
that
the-
works.
The
I
other
would
stuff-
remove that about the investigations, just because I think, in the age that we're in right now, I think anytime we can avoid saying it, even though that's accurate, that's not an inaccurate statement.
Yeah.
There's just maybe no need to call attention to it because
little
everybody's
aggressive.
seen. It
Yeah.
is, it
Yeah.
is,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody's just really upset right now, and we've got to think about things
Yes.
differently than we used to.
Yep, I get it. Nope, we're good. We can move to the next one, Becca, the family and school partnerships. So
Um,
this, while she's pulling it up, Greta,
Mhm.
this is a new page that was suggested to be added. So we
Mhm.
currently have a parent and family resources and a parent and family rights.
Mhm.
But one of the things that we wanted to kind of stick with the way OSIP lays out is having a page where the family and school partner together, because we found we have a lot of scattered resources that are meant for school districts and families together.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so this would allow us to put those together, and it's all about those two collaborating. And
Mhm.
so that page would include these resources, which of course is our resources and rights pages, but
Mhm.
also family engagement, global family partners, a collaborative, and any other ones that we came up with. But these are the ones that Shasta and I pulled from our website right now and put here.
I like that. Yeah,
So
I
it was,
agree.
yeah, a lot of this was in the toolbox or toolkit page, but we're going to repurpose that hopefully into this page.
And then
Okay.
the only other question was, do we want to include Kentucky Spin on the family and school partnerships page as well, or only keep it stuck to parent and family resources?
I would put it on the partnership page.
Okay. Perfect.
I mean, I would do both. I think the more that we can highlight Kentucky Spin, the better off we'll be for multiple reasons. One, because they do work really well with schools and districts and families. And
Yeah.
two, they are our IDEA required parent training information center.
Perfect.
Okay.
We assumed, but we don't like to assume.
No, I think that's I mean, I think that's correct. I asked the question, but
Mhm.
your gut instinct is correct.
Okay, good. All right, we can move to the next one is ARC and IEP. So these, we're getting into the pages now where we separated on the left side of the page, you can see we've changed names. Because right now, the way the navigation is, and I think I think you looked at the document when you looked at it a while back, you know, we changed the navigation of the page. We
Mhm.
wanted to separate stuff so that it's more easily recognizable. It's efficient for DOS teachers and parents to know what they're looking for and things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I don't know what happened to the left side of the page.
I tried to make it larger and
Oh,
it's just, yeah, I can
I was
undo
gonna say,
it.
can you go back?
Yes,
Well, yeah, if you go back, it's because of the way all the information is trying to make it look like a,
it's, I can't find undo.
here, let me see if I can do. Well, oh, well, that's okay. But
Okay.
anyway, so what we've done is we've broken it apart based on the topic areas and what they most fit into. And all of OCL worked to help us kind of categorize those and what those should be titled as. So everything under here is documents and information that an ARC and IEP guidance would be included in.
Mhm.
So we tried to really focus on that. What is the ARC and the IEP? What do they need for ARC and IEP?
Mhm.
So the questions we had, and I've got to open another view because SharePoint's not working so great for me. Hold on. There we go. There we go. We wanted to ask, one, do you want blurbs for every document that we have on the website? So Becca, if you'll scroll down a little bit to where it says ARC guidance. So
Mhm.
like that list of guidance documents there, do we want to make sure we have a blurb for everything? Even if it's just like a sentence to describe what it is?
And I
Um,
can
go ahead.
tell you that the we can do it either way, but whatever decision we make, it would be best if we could keep that same form throughout our pages.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. So do you have a recommendation for what
So,
option works better?
I mean, I think that it's if these documents are frequently used and people will understand what they are by looking at the name of them, at the title of them, then
Mhm.
we could just leave it as a list of guidance resources of documents if that's clear. And what we could do is add a blurb underneath ARC guidance. Below is a list of documents that block, so on and
that's
so
a good
Yeah.
forth.
idea.
Yeah, I kind of like that because
Okay.
if you put a if you put a line between all of them, which is where I was going initially, that's a lot of words to filter
Exactly.
through.
Mm-hmm.
I like the
Um,
blurb under that. That'll work. Okay. And that'll cut down because some of them are some of the documents we found really do need their own little blurb, but some of the ones that fall under a category, I think we
mhm.
can do list if we do one good blurb. So good idea, Becca. Thank you.
And we'll
Uh,
keep that as much as we can. Like that's what's done here too.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And I did want to confirm, Greta, all of OCL leadership suggested that we attempt whenever possible on our website not to put names as contacts, but instead put like contact a specific division or
Agreed.
and phone numbers. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Uh,
And then Veronica mentioned all technical assistance goes to DIP. That's, I mean, that's a big take, but she took it. So,
Except preschool, right?
except preschool,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Preschool, we
Okay.
have our school readiness email
Well,
that we
Gotcha.
use.
Okay.
Yeah.
And monitoring they have their own contacts on their page. So yeah, we've separated out those type things. Yeah. But she was saying on the guidance and resources page, we'll take out names and just put it's going to DIP.
Okay.
So, all right, so we're good. This page is done. Yay.
Okay.
Quick question. Let me ask you that.
Yep.
Just I processed that one a little late. If it all goes to DIP, who's monitoring to be sure it's all going? Like if I'm a parent
Uh-huh.
and there's no person there, how do I know whom to call?
Let's see what.
So sorry, I'm not understanding. So typically what they're thinking is putting contact, like right now it says Natasha Menifee. And
Uh-huh.
like if you scroll down, Becca, I think it's still on there if you scroll down.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so instead of saying Natasha Menifee, it would say Division of IDEA Implementation and not preschool, I guess. I don't know if we still have preschool in there
Well,
anymore.
legally it's still
Yeah.
in
Oh, preschool,
preschool,
right?
so I
Okay.
haven't changed that yet.
And then they would have the phone number. And then of course, those go to Laura and Angie and whoever else is on phones. The only thing that they did have about contacts, and I think that's in one of our other documents questions, but we can ask it now, is the email address. Right now, they're going to, you know, Veronica, Natasha, Amanda, all the different things. They've asked about doing what we used to do for some of the other, like course codes we did it for, alternate assessment, a couple other things, is doing a box for TA and, you know, different things, and making sure that leadership all have access to it, and admin, and they have the ability, like someone's in kind of like a tiered system, you know, one person's responsible for forwarding that to consultants to respond. If that person's not available, then the next person's responsible for forwarding it and that kind of thing.
It
That
works
way
well
they
for
make sure
school
it goes out.
readiness. School readiness has that, and it's perfect.
Okay.
Does that
See,
make
I
does that
would
work or no?
rather, I like that idea, but we have to know that they have a process. You know, school readiness has been doing this for a long time. So they kind of know how to do it. We would have to make sure they have a process for doing it. And the other thing that concerns me, excuse me, is typically if you get calls in preschool, it's questions. People haven't had enough time to get really upset just yet.
True.
Yeah. Well, some of them, but not most. But if we don't have a name on here and somebody wants to pick the phone up and they want to call, you know, the division of IDA implementation in preschool, that's so sterile that it concerns me. They won't know whom to call, and then that just makes people angrier. And then so by the time they do get somebody, let's imagine they've been shuffled around 2 or 3 times after having a bad experience in the school. And if you are, you know, Tanya Sharp and you take that call, you're going to catch all of that frustration when it's released, even though it may not be directed at you. Whereas if you have Natasha Menifee, you call and then you know, you get a person and you say, here's what's happened, da 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 da, and then they know how to shuffle that call around. So that's the only thing that really concerns me, is I don't want to set our consultants up to be the point of contact that catches all of the frustration.
And that's been a concern, because I know that leadership has brought up that right now they have a name that they can send it to and a specific email address, and they don't feel like they're just emailing a robot, you know, where it says dacinfo@education.ky.gov, you know. So that is the kind of pro con. So that's why we were trying to figure out, you know, what does Greta think?
I tend to lean toward keeping a person, and again, I'm thinking out loud. This is what I do. I process out loud. Okay,
Yeah.
so feel free to push back here. The other side of that is if you're asking questions as a DAC, you're asking big, broad, general questions. Typically, if you've reached out to special education consultants, it's about your child or your student, and it's all the way at the desktop level, which again makes it even more emotional, right? Because if you're talking about the program, that's typically not too emotionally charged. So I don't know. I mean, I lean toward liking the name on it. And I mean, you know, if we want to have one mailbox, fine, but have a name on there as well. You know, send questions to, you know, questions RS mailbox, or call Natasha Menifee, or I mean, I know not Natasha, but you know, whomever.
Right.
I don't know. And to be fair, most people will probably email because people don't typically like to call anymore. Although we do get a lot. I mean, we get our angriest people over the phone.
Yeah.
And right now, all of the contacts have been changed. The majority of them have been changed to Veronica.
Okay. Well, now that's a big lift for her to take.
She's been forwarding them all, because with Natasha being gone, that's just where they've been moved to.
Okay.
So yeah.
I mean, that's a lot for a director.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that was her request.
okay. I mean, I get it. I mean, I get it, but
yeah.
you know, and that's fine if that's what she wants to do, but
So talking out loud, your gut feeling is let's put a name with a phone number,
I think so.
and then, but we could still do a general box. But that way they have a name to at least address a person in the email box or address the
think
person when
so.
they call. Okay.
I think so. And I mean, and what if you're Laura and you get a call and somebody's angry on the other end and they just want to talk to somebody, and you have all these new people running around, which we have a high turnover rate. And then she catches that frustration. She may not know who to call.
And
And I just think that's an unfair position to put people in.
if we go in this direction, it's not a definite. The only thing I don't have the ability to edit the reusable content, only Shrivanti does. I
Mhm.
don't know why I couldn't have access to that. I guess because it's maybe she doesn't want office level web authors to have. I'm not really sure why that's the way to go, but it would be something different. So we would have to get the Office of Communications approval to do that.
Okay.
I don't know that we couldn't, but that's just that'd be something to consider. She might say, no, we can't do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
We can look
And
into it
that's
though.
fine. That's if they don't want us to and they have a purpose, for not wanting that, that's okay. We
Mhm.
can stay within that. But then what that requires, I think, on our end is to make sure that we have built a process so that our admins or consultants or whomever's answering the phone don't get in an unfortunate position just because of a
Yeah.
lack of process or a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm thinking about here. And I mean,
No,
the
that's
why
perfect.
may not matter, but I hope like thinking about that helps you to kind of see where I'm going in my mind with,
Yeah.
the
Well,
way I
and
think about this.
what we could do also is create that mailbox and slowly transition to it, like in our
Hmm.
communications
Good
and
point.
in our, other communications that go out weekly and monthly, and we can begin to share that. And then the page contact would mostly just be parent that's trying to find information, and then the hopefully the rest of the school and district world would use the dip mailbox.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
I really
That's
like that idea, Becca, a lot. Because it'll be the schools and districts who need the more general questions that anybody can answer. It's going to be the upset parent or the confused parent or the
Mhm.
emotional parent who needs a voice on the other end of the phone immediately, and
Yeah.
not could you hold please, because put them on hold one time, they're upset. Put them on hold twice, and it's game over for building any trust in relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. All right. We're going to move to number 4. And you might want to open this one in the editing, go to open in desktop app so you can see it right. This is a new page, Greta, as well. And this is where we had all these documents kind of scattered throughout, but this is all of our evaluation and eligibility guidance and resources. We've pulled it together so that we have our, the regs related to evaluation eligibility. We've got our evaluation eligibility forms. Previously we had speech and language forms separate. We don't know why, so we've added them here.
Mhm.
Our evaluation resources, things that'll help them determine eligibility and evaluation. And the other reason why is DIP is in the process of developing a new guidance document on the special ed process that we're working on, and it's going to be, we're hoping that we can add to this too, so that we can kind of pull that in, bringing out those different pieces. So this is a new page. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of this page, that you're okay with this page, that the title, again, they were worried about making sure that the titles made sense to us, the ARC guidance, evaluation eligibility guidance, separating those pieces.
Hey, can I jump in here for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
When you scroll, I don't know, up or down, I want to see what you previously showed me. I don't know which way you have to scroll. Okay, wait, go back down.
Go slow.
Yeah. I need a little extra time, clearly.
Okay.
Oh, here on Directors of Special Education, and you abbreviate DOS. I think it's fine in the abbreviation if you also put the apostrophe S. because then you say doses, if they say it rather than, actually, wait, feedback based from revisions to the forms and the cases occur based on feedback from, that doesn't need an apostrophe. Directors of special education, that doesn't need an apostrophe.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
Mm-mm. And then put a S on the end of doses, since we're talking
Oh,
about
do you
more
want me
than
to
one.
begin to change like that?
I was gonna say, don't stress about Greta. We're gonna go through
Okay.
the grammatical stuff later. We
Okay.
Oh,
were
yeah.
trying not to stress you out about all that.
Okay. Well, now I can't, if I see it, like, I
I
can't help
know.
it. So that wasn't even the one I saw. Scroll on down. You need to go fast so I don't see these. But anyway,
Okay.
scroll down.
Well,
I'm
let
joking.
me get this straight. Do you want
Okay.
me to begin to change the acronym from dose to doses when appropriate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
I
that's a
mean,
change that I'll need to make across
mhm.
SharePoint and all kinds of communications. But yeah, I'll start doing that.
Yeah, if you're talking about more than one, I would go ahead um
Okay.
and change it. Somewhere on down on a header you put, or somebody put, guidance document. And again, this just goes back to using less words. I think when we say specific learning disability guidance, we don't necessarily need to say document. Those two words are the same essentially.
Gotcha.
So I would just
Let me double
change
check
those
that
out.
that's not what they actually named the document.
Probably. Um, that would that would be about
Even
right,
if
wouldn't
that's the name of the document, we don't have to have it.
So
Yeah.
it is the name of the document.
it? I knew it would be.
That's what I figured. So that's why, just FYI, so that's what happens when it gets named that. So yeah.
Well, if it's named
But,
that, I'd just leave it like it is, just so, for
so for
clarity,
now,
but
well, and that's part of the KDE style guide, if we're supposed to use the, yeah, fun
yeah,
times.
you're supposed to use the full name. But why in the world did we name something?
I know.
I mean,
Uh,
but we say it
yeah.
like that.
We
we
don't have
say,
to say it's a
We do say
document.
guidance document. Yeah.
we do. We say
It
guidance
drives me
documents,
insane, but
guidance
that's okay.
forms. But I
Okay,
mean, guidance
sorry.
is sufficient, but whatever.
I agree. But yeah. All right, next one. Sorry. I feel you. That style guide just,
So we modeled
I
this
cannot.
page after it was one of the states that you liked, Greta, and I cannot remember offhand what state you liked,
Okay.
but they had all of their evaluation, eligibility,
Yes.
guidance resources all together. So this is a hefty lift for this page, but it does make sense for it all to be together. And
it actually condensed it from the other ones.
Yeah.
From where it was originally.
I like it all together because I mean, that's the first thing that you need when you're.
Well, if I'm somebody that's looking for evaluation information, I don't want to have to click on 3 different pages to find it.
No, you're right.
All right.
And if you're a brand new dose, that's going to be the one that haunts you. Because that's the big one. Reevals aren't that difficult, but getting through that referral, evaluation, eligibility until you're comfortable with that, and especially if you don't have a school psych.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next one. It's number 6, Becca. It's the English learners with disabilities, and everybody wanted this to be its own page. Which I was glad, because we have a lot of EL resources, but they were scattered everywhere.
Yeah.
So we've brought them together and we've tried to make sure that the blurbs match what they are. We've tried to, put those together. So everything looks good. Again, contact wise, we weren't sure who to put as the contact for that.
I'd put that as Shasta. Nobody else knows anything about it. I mean,
I agree, but
may have Shasta on there. I think I'll double check, but yeah.
Did they already change that one? Okay.
I either changed it to Veronica or Shasta, but moving forward, she is.
And then the other question we had about it was, that's good that we're good with it as its own pages. Do we want to, for general resources, do we want to link them to any other KDE EL resources? Like, do we want them give them other links to other EL?
I think you should. I think you should. Even if you just have a little blurb that says something to the effect of, OCIS provides guidance and supports and technical assistance, whatever you want to say,
Okay.
for all English learners and may be accessed here. I mean, it can be that
Okay, that's what we were
That's
wondering.
simple.
short.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
So we thought we would put that on the right side to kind of just lead them there too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. We can move on to the next one. Yeah.
Are we up to special education requests?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is, this is what is currently our special ed waiver page.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. So here's the thing. So we talked about this. When you look at OSEP and we talk about what language they use in
Mhm.
their guidance, they always say requests. So that was one of the suggestions on changing the language, is that we say these are just special education teaching requests, or what was it?
So in place of the word waivers, correct?
Yes, but
Okay.
hearing special ed request sounds really odd. So we thought about saying
Mhm.
special education, but the thing is, we have shortened school day, probationary, emergency.
I know.
So do we instead say probationary, emergency, shortened school requests? And just lay it out as all three of those?
Phew. I mean,
know.
This
I
this
don't
was
know.
the page that I originally one night, Carol Ann was like,
Mhm.
take what
Take it
someone said,
down.
take it down, and then the next day it was put it back up.
I
So,
know.
and which is, it's fine with me, it's my job. But
I know.
this,
Or,
for one
so
reason, for some reason or another, someone wanted this page like this.
here's the other option, Greta, is saying request for operating outside of state certification requirements.
Oh God, no, I wouldn't put that out there.
Okay, making sure, because
Um,
that's the language they use when they're
I
saying
know.
it.
I
So
wouldn't. Not when we're facing a monitoring visit.
I'm like, I don't know what else to.
I think we should just, well, and it's again, I'm not the content expert, I'm just the web person, but I feel like we should just leave this one alone until after monitoring.
Well, we can't say waivers. That
Yeah.
was one big thing that
But aren't
they
these waivers?
emphasized from OSEP. OSEP said you cannot waive.
Yeah.
You cannot waive, you cannot waive. And that was one of the notes they put in LRP is, states are getting in trouble for waiving things. And so we really need to get away from that waive. So, but
Big
we have
trouble.
this, I know exactly. So we're requesting to exceed caseloads. We're requesting to shorten school day. We're requesting program probationary teacher certification. We're requesting emergency teacher certification. So it's all requests. So
Have
do
you
we
talked to
just-
David specifically about like the legal piece behind this?
I think Veronica and them have, and possibly Carol Ann, but I haven't been on that conversation because
Okay.
it came up when they were doing their walkthrough. And like I said, that's
Mhm.
the word that came through. Now I can note that they can go ask, we can reach out to them again and see.
Here's what I want to do. I want to pause on this page and
Okay.
I want to set up a time with the two of you to work directly with David to make the
Okay.
changes needed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm happy to be there. If not, I'm happy to ask him to do it. And I'll send the email to let him know that that's
Okay.
my request so that he can do
Perfect.
it. Because states are getting hammered by
Yes.
OSEP for this. I mean, they came into Indiana a few years ago and they lost 1,500 teachers immediately. They sent
Mm,
them home.
mm.
Yeah, did the same thing in Alabama. I fully suspect we're going to get hit hard because of our quote emergency certified term,
Mhm.
but I don't want to give it to them. Like if they're
Yeah.
going to cite us for it, they're going to
They
have to
gotta
work
find
to
it.
find it.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, and I say that because David has been in the weeds with this for well over a year. I mean, he's actually gone so far as to say, stop even responding when these districts send these things in. Just stop talking
Mm.
about it, stop responding because we don't ever really approve anything.
Yeah.
And we're putting ourselves as an office kind of out in front of something that isn't ours because there's been some reg changes around licensure that has kind of and I don't understand this well enough. This is why you need to hear it from David, but it's essentially made some of the, waiver air quote here language that we have in reg a moot point.
Okay.
However, we haven't done anything to change it, and we being OELE, and I'm going to have to try to work with Byron to do some major things. So this may be that,
Okay.
I just don't know. I say all that because I really need him to weigh in on that.
Okay. Well,
One thing to
perfect. We'll come back to
one
that
thing
one
to
then.
consider is that if we wanted to make this less public, and I don't know that we could do that or not, but what we could do is we could move this to the DOSE SharePoint site where only doses.
Oh,
So that would be something I would offer to David. It would still be available for doses. It's just not going to be up there for the whole world to see.
at a minimum, I would like to do that.
Okay, and I can
note that too.
And so you can let him know that's my recommendation, that I'll go as conservative as he wants to be, but at a minimum, I'd like to get it out of the public facing document.
Okay.
Good to know.
That would take a minute for me, but I would just make that happen as fast as I could.
Okay. And I'm going to send that email right now while I'm thinking about it, just so I don't
Okay.
forget. And I'll
Okay,
copy
good. I'm
the
gonna take
both
a
of you.
super quick bathroom break then. I'll be back in
Okay.
2 seconds.
Okay, that's
Go for it.
perfect.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'll
I
do
I
that.
shut my email down because I was getting all these notifications that was distracting me, so I've got to open it back up.
Nope, you're good.
I've gotten to the point where I can only do so many things at once.
I understand, trust me.
I went, I shouldn't tell this on myself, but I went, like my hairdresser, she moved locations like I'm talking months ago, if not a year ago. I mean, this didn't happen recently. And so the last time I went, I'm just driving along thinking, oh, I'm 20 minutes early today. And I sat out there, answered a couple emails, thought, oh, I have all this time, I'll just catch up on some stuff, you know how you do. And then I got out and I started to walk in, and it was like 3 minutes till, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not even where she works. And I mean, I literally spent 20 minutes in the parking lot. So I was like, oh, how embarrassing. So I had to call her and be like, I'm coming, but I just need you to give me a few minutes. I'll tell you the story when I get there. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
It was embarrassing.
Phew. It's been crazy. Well, you're gonna love the next few pages because it's the one that I laughed when you did your first review of our website and everybody, did that form that
I'm
Becky
back.
did. And your note was we need an overhaul, and we are like, we know, but what do you mean by overhaul? And so we overhauled it a little bit, but we laughed. We're like, okay, I don't know if this is what she wants, so we're gonna have to see what
Okay.
happens here.
Well, the good news is I can't remember anything, so probably don't even remember what it said. I mean, I forgot where my hairdresser works, so there's
so it's
that.
funny. Well, part of it's because that particular page is one that we created because of ESSA and stuff, and so now we need it for different reasons. So we've played with it and we've changed it a whole bunch several times.
Okay.
So now we've landed on this, and so we'll see what you think. I'm gonna have, I think oh yeah, you've got it pulled up. Yay, Becca. All right,
Yeah,
so we're all back.
Yep, I'm finishing up.
Yeah.
I can listen and just type the last few words.
Okay, so what we've got is a landing page called Participation in State Assessments for Students with Disabilities. I will say the reason we did this is because previously all we had was that waiver page. And that waiver page only gave stuff on our kids on an alternate.
Oh,
The problem being is we have kids with disabilities who are taking the regular assessment, who get accommodations
correct.
And we have different things. So we thought, okay, how can we, even though we don't do a lot with that, because we have to send them to OAA typically for that. We're really only dealing with the participation decision. So we made a landing page saying, here's a participation in state assessments for kids with disabilities. Here's what it is. Decisions for students to participate in the alternate assessment, contact OCEAL. For state assessment provided to all students, including kids with disabilities, contact OAA in regards to, accommodations, training requirements, blah, blah, blah. That way, we also thought that would cut down on a lot of the calls we get that we're constantly having to transfer.
Yeah.
So that was one of them. And then what we did is we have that landing page, and then we've created 3 subpages based off of that. We have participation guidance, which we know is it is a web page that gets a lot of hits.
Yeah.
So this is the one that has participation guidance. It's got all of our guidance documents on the form, parent guidance, trainings,
Mhm.
the summative assessment, standards guidance, all those kind of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then we've separated it out with a separate page on instructional and assessment guidance, because we have participation guidance on how do you make the decision to participate, which is a lot of different pieces. And then you have here's the stuff on actually instructing them and assessing them, because we have all those alternate standards and so forth. So we have that separated. And then the final one
Is it instructional and alternate assessment, or is it instructional guidance for students participating in alternate assessment?
Let me look. Let me see what all's on there. Well, lines from the special, let's see.
I don't think it's just alternate assessment guidance,
I
but
know, that's what I'm looking. Because it's
No,
going to be
yeah, it is. That's alt assessment.
math standard and target. So it's got both. Because it's got the Kentucky Academic Standard. So here's the thing. So we have the regular standards are connected to our alternate standard targets. So the
Yeah.
documents fall together. So it's about instructing students with disabilities that are taking alternate with the alternate targets, and instructing students with disabilities who maybe just are receiving SDI and accommodations on the regular assessment.
Okay.
Does that
Then
make
it's
sense?
probably better
Okay.
like it is then.
You
So I
like
think
you
that's
like this
why,
title?
because we originally had instructional and assessment guidance, but I don't know. We're struggling with that one.
I mean, I do kind of like the instruction. Well, that one's a tough one, because if it's written like it is instructional and alternate assessment guidance, I don't immediately know that I'm going to get information around the
On
standards.
the regular assessment. That's
Mhm.
true. So maybe if we just say assessment, that covers both, or instructional and assessments guidance? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. And is it, I don't know. Is it instructional guidance, or is it
Because it's both.
standards?
It's both. So
Okay.
we've tried to combine both so we wouldn't have to do a lot of pages, obviously.
Yeah.
And plus, a lot of them are tied together. That was a lot of the low incidence work that we did with them, is to tie those pieces together.
Maybe, I mean, I don't want it to say this is going to oversimplify it, but what if the title was something much simpler, that was like the intersect between instruction and assessment? Because that's what you're talking about here.
And it can be, and if we can, whatever the title is, it can be changed.
Can
So
we just do instruction and assessment?
Yeah.
Instruction and assessment.
Because we're already under a this is just a
Yeah.
subpage under assessments anyway.
True.
It's under guidance.
Because we're under participation in state assessments for students with disabilities.
That's right. These were the 3 we were going to pull out. Okay. Yeah.
So maybe we don't really need the assessment piece, because we're under participation in state assessments. So maybe we just leave it as instructional or instructional guidance, because it's already under assessments. So
Or maybe it's because the thing that's missing here that I think you need is standards. So maybe the title is standards and instruction.
that's a good idea. Okay, standards.
Because you're already under assessment, and really, let's be honest, if I'm in special education, if I'm in this space looking for guidance, I'm looking for something around alternate assessment, or I've already moved on
you're
to
right.
OAA.
Exactly, because it's in that. All right, perfect. Let's do that.
And then you can sit with it for a while. If it doesn't make sense after you like process it, I'm not married to this. I'm just throwing out ideas.
No, that's a good idea.
Those changes are easy to make at my level too. If after a month we don't like it, we can change it.
Good.
So we have
Sometimes I think things are a real good idea until
until later.
until I think about it.
So we've got participation guidance, then we've got the standards and instruction, and then the final pages, and this is, we have to look this up because I've asked this question and nobody knows. The waiver, we know we have to have certain parts of it public. We just don't know for how long. Right now, we have all of our waivers all the way back from when it started in 17.
Mhm.
I don't know how long we have to leave that public.
Okay.
But since we started those other pages and now we have the guidance separated and all that information, this one is much smaller. Now we just have the waivers and then we have the assurances and justifications right here. The only thing that was brought up, and we were talking with Amy and Veronica about this, is do we incorporate these waivers and the assurances and justifications with other public reporting pages or not? Or do we keep it on its own page?
I mean, honestly, I think Amy's probably going to be the person that's best suited to tell you that. I don't care either way.
Okay,
But I want to do whatever makes the most sense. And the reason I say she's better suited to tell you is because Curtis comes to her with
okay,
every question around publicly reported data.
okay,
So just figure out what's going to be easiest for her to tell Curtis on where to find it, and then I'll support whatever decision y'all make.
okay. Because I figured we would reach out to Lauren too, because she's writing the waivers now.
Good
And,
point. Yeah.
you know, because she's gonna have to link them and so forth.
Hmm.
But when I've already initially talked with Amy when we were looking through this, and our thought was, you know, this is assessment data. We do report assessment participation data with Indicator 3 now. You know, we
Mhm.
have all that. So, you know, would we want to do that on that same public reporting page and put that under there? You know, do we want to make it a link to a, you know, the kind of like the hidden page that Becca's done before you link to? It's not its own page, but you
Right.
click on it and a page pops up.
Hmm.
So that it's there. So we have those options. We just wanted to know, do we want to keep it here? Because honestly, the doses and all those people, they're not really interested in any of
Yeah.
this. You know,
Yeah.
the US Ed is the ones interested. So we weren't really
Mhm.
sure it really needed to be on this page.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, I mean, that's who I would get the
okay,
answer from. Just work with them because like I said, Curtis will always call Amy about
Mhm.
any publicly reported data, and she just needs to be able to tell him where it is in the with the least amount of steps possible because
okay.
they struggle. I mean, she literally
And
typed
then,
up a paragraph on step 1, step 2, step 3, and then still they couldn't figure out how to get to something she had done. And I mean, it was just a nightmare for her for an entire week.
yeah.
Mm.
And then who can tell us how long we need to keep these publicly made available?
I would, David, check with him
David?
because
Okay,
some of this, well, you got two things going on here. One, whatever the records retention might say about it, and I don't think it speaks to publicly available, but we'd have to keep a file somewhere.
yeah,
And then two, whatever US Ed has to say about how long they have to be made available. And so I don't know if that's in any guidance. If it's not, though, if you want to send a question to me to share with Curtis to get information, I'm happy
okay,
to. But the least that we can engage them right now, the better off we are.
okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
10-minute warning. And Greta, I have a quick follow-up since I already have one action item.
Okay.
When, I just want to make sure I understand everything correctly, what you want me to do. So going back to the waivers, uh, so this page right here is the Kentucky Directors of Special Education webpage. Its audience is limited to um, special ed directors and anybody that supports them.
Hmm.
So do you want that information about waivers to be a separate page, like News You Can Use page
Hmm.
or OSEAL newsletters page? Or we have these separate pages, or do you
Hmm.
want it to be at the very bottom of this home page so that it's kind of
Hidden.
hidden even a little bit more?
Um, I'm all for hiding. Here's going to be the pushback on that
Okay.
for consideration. Um, Caroline Shop's gonna get a flood of phone calls. Where is it? Where is it? What have you done with it?
I can send
Can you
her,
scroll up, Becca? Scroll up for
Yeah.
a minute. Keep going a little bit more. Let's see. Stop right there. Okay. Oh, that's the monitoring resource. I was gonna say, I thought I saw where you could, I wondered if you could just list, special education waiver request or something
oh,
under one of
what we
those.
could do is make that very clear, like something like this. This has probably been up long enough that everybody's on the listserv. So we
Mm.
could change this, but then that's still kind of broadcasting it. We can have it be a separate page and it just not come up over here. And so
Mhm.
once Carol Ann gets that one response, like she can just send it out. It'll still be available. She'll
Okay.
still have a link that she can send them. But
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Or if you put it in a space, Becca, we could even put something in the news you can use that would be, and that makes me just a tad nervous because of, who OSEP's going to call. But I mean, regardless of who they interview, they're going to use the term waivers. I mean, I don't think we can avoid it, but
Mhm.
we could say something in news you could use that could potentially help us. But this is where I need David's like legal mind. Something like, for request, blah, 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 formerly known as waivers,
Mhm.
and kind of officially get rid of that word. But again, I don't, the attorney in him's probably going to say no.
For now,
But
I'll make it a new page with this permissions group, and I
okay,
won't put it over here, but I'll make it a page with a link that I can send to Carol Ann, and I'll make sure that all those resources are limited to this user group.
okay,
And if we need to go back to what it was, we'll just go back to what it was
okay. Yeah, but I mean, I would definitely show David all of this as well and see if,
before I
um,
do anything.
I probably would. I'd probably have the meeting and then
Okay.
let's see, because I would rather us just take one more hit at it instead of you do it and then you have to undo it. And
Okay.
yeah. And I think it's going to help if you can just sit with him directly and talk about it instead of having two or three people kind of in between.
Hmm. Okay, that sounds good.
Just faster.
Okay. And then I'm gonna actually skip to a different one. Skip to the advisory groups and partners, the number 1.
Okay.
We're gonna jump to that one really quick. On this one, this is currently a page under special ed, not exceptional children and early learning. We are
Okay.
suggesting moving it to having its own page under exceptional children and early learning because we have advisory groups for preschool, for KSB,
Mhm.
KSD, all that.
I
It
agree.
should be under its own page. The other question we have is, we know who our advisory groups are. Who are our partners?
Mm.
How is that defined differently? Do you know?
I would take off partners because
Okay.
remember last year when we did that technical assistance page,
Yeah.
that those people are technically our partners. I mean, that's how we
Okay.
refer to them, but the reality is we pay them. So, you know, um, I don't know if that's a partner when it's a TA center that we fund.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd just take off partners.
Okay. We thought so. And so what we thought was doing it just as advisory groups, its own
Mhm.
list, and then having the list with the blurbs and having a link to each of those pages.
Mhm.
That way we don't need to have sub pages because all of them have their own page under,
Mhm.
KSB or the commissioner and things anyway.
Here's the other thing. I would get rid of the dose advisory group because we're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
And I
Would you
would
go ahead and
take
mark
off,
that, Becca?
I would also take off the preschool advisory group because it's not required. And so that way if we take it off there and we decide not to have it, we've already deleted the information because
Okay.
it's not set in statute. It's not in federal law. CGIC, we could probably take that one off too, to be honest. But
Oh, really?
yeah, I mean it's ours. We created it. I let's leave it just because it's been around for 25 years. But these specific ones that I just created or had somebody else create, we don't need to call a lot of attention to all that right now for
Okay.
OSEP scouring the web page.
Gotcha. Okay, I think that's it, 'cause that was our, let me double check. Yep, you've already answered that one. Okay, we're good
On
on
that
that.
state advisory panel, um,
Uh-huh.
go to that one and be sure that our language mirrors the federal law, because they'll look for that stuff.
Okay. I'll make
It's in the IDEA, and I mean, you don't have to go through all of the, categories, because there's like 4 or 5 components, but just if you come
Okay.
out of the gate with the unmet need or whatever it is.
Okay, just
um,
make sure that the blurb matches it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right, can do. All right, I think we've got 4 minutes. We might be able to pull in another one.
We'll
Um,
do the,
We'll skip monitoring. We can jump onto that one really quick because that's actually been updated by Carol Ann.
okay.
Okay.
She's actually updated, I think, twice since we've done all this. So with all the work they've been doing. So she's updated it. What we've done is we've moved things around and put the regulations on the right side. And she's put all of her monitoring resources. I think they just took out a lot of that differentiated stuff that they had in there.
Okay.
She's put notes in here to herself to update some monitoring briefs when they finish it and things like that. Because she said they've got that. I'm looking to see if there was anything else she had on here. No, I think that was the main concern. And she's put the record review documents and eligibility record review documents. So that one's been updated. So we're good there, but it has its own page now under monitoring, accountability, and results.
Okay.
And then the Kentucky Fast Facts, currently it's its own page because we.
Wait. Let's go back to that accountability.
All right.
I would take the word accountability out of this.
Okay.
Out of this title.
Yeah, I would do monitoring and results or something like that,
Okay.
because accountability makes people think assessment,
Oh, good call.
and I just don't want to confuse people. So if we do monitoring and results, although all of that's monitoring,
Yeah.
um,
All right.
yeah.
Perfect.
Where are we putting our, oh, I see it, the determinations process that's in there.
Yep.
This page needs to also have information around all of the components of monitoring, like indicators 4, 9, 10.
What are you wanting to put on there? Like are you talking about their?
Whatever we're doing for like risk assessment monitoring.
I think she had that on there, but I want to
Okay.
say that's what was removed.
Okay. Well,
Is that in there? But is that what's in their monitoring brief now and their rubric?
yes. Do we have that on here somewhere?
Yeah. So she has
Okay.
their monitoring brief up above now.
Okay.
Right
Because
there.
I think they originally had it kind of written out, but now it's in the brief and the rubric. So now they
Now
don't
it's not
have
the
a
risk
blurb.
assessment rubric. That's what I'm talking about.
No, the one up above it, the monitoring brief. Is
Yeah.
that it?
Mhm. It may be. Is that the one that's got like all the different types of monitoring in OSIL?
I don't know. I'm not in there anymore.
True. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That's the one we
Okay.
worked on with the commissioner. They might want to add more to that. Whereas, I mean,
Okay.
it's so small and it says monitoring brief. I mean, somehow they can, that really needs to be a standout document for,
Okay.
how is your district selected? That would take a lot of calls off of them.
Yes, it would. That's true.
But here's the other problem too. And I get that you're not in the division, but if you don't know about it,
I know. I
our
can't write
office
guidance
does.
on it. I can't provide TA on it.
Exactly. That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
We got to do better at
Yeah.
communicating.
Well, because and we go straight to, I usually go to the website first to see if I can find the information and before I contact anybody else. So,
But see, it shouldn't be that way. It should be that OSIL's got this out. Everybody in OSIL knows about it,
yeah.
because you've got several years under your belt. What about
Yeah.
these brand new people? They don't know.
Well, it's 2:00 and I'm being kicked out of the conference room. So,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
but we got through a bunch, Greta.
Okay.
I think we still have you booked for like Friday for a little bit.
Okay.
And I think we've only got 2 or 3 left, if that.